All right, let's hop right into it. Busy day yesterday, busy day the day before. Thank you for being here today on Down to Earth with me, Kristian Harloff. A lot of news going on in this community. There's a lot of people still outside of this community that are not aware of this, and there's a lot of things going on right now, from the Ross Coldhart whistleblower, which I think everybody is really looking to see what is going to go down with that. I'm going to do a video a little later about a tweet that went out that they're going to show some stuff, but I want to put that close to the end of the day because we're getting that interview tomorrow. Today, I saw a video that was sent to me by our mutual friend Pavel, and he said, "Take a look at this." And it is from that series, the UFO Revolution series that TMZ is doing. We've already seen clips from Jeremy Corbell. I already posted a video on it with the Arrow situation. We have heard from a lot of different people, whether it be Stephen Greer or others, that there's going to be kind of a fake announcement of NHI, aliens. And this is another, I guess, confirmation of that potential rumor that Jeremy Corbell also brings up and talks about. And we've also heard the date of 2027 being floated around by various people. And it's interesting that that is brought up inside this clip. It's a longer clip. It's like 3 minutes long, but I want to play it and show you guys kind of what is said throughout this, because there's also part of it that it's a bit daunting. And I think that's the overall point of the this video in general. Like, you saw the clip that even I played from Arrow, the music and everything a little ominous, and they're trying to get that feel that there's something shady going on, right? And this is part of that as well. But it's what is said inside of it that is very interesting. So we're going to show that clip, and then we're going to discuss it, what it could mean, what it means if it happens, what it means if it doesn't happen, all that and more. So we'll discuss that. And before I do, real quick, I got to tell you about SAN. I'm telling you about SAN for a bit. I'll tell you again about them. Here you go.
You know, when I'm doing my out of the theater reactions, I have a pretty solid set of like personal opinions that I have as soon as I see the movie and that I form after I see it. However, I do like to listen to what other people are thinking, even if they have a completely different view of mine. And I think about the same thing when it comes to news. Now, I know that a lot of you people are looking for a new news outlet. I know that you are. And if you're looking for a source that keeps facts fair and it keeps it balanced, you got to check out Straight Arrow News, because they are all about cutting through the noise, and Americans have actually rated their reporting as right down the middle. If you're watching this channel, that's what we try to do, right down the middle. So I use SAN to research a lot of the topics that I talk about on Down to Earth. I do a lot of the research of stuff that's going on in the news in general, so I'm well read about it. Their app helps me gather insights and different perspectives. So check out Straight Arrow News for yourself. You go to san.com/Harloff. Now, subscribing through my link, it supports both me and an amazing organization. So check it out. Link is in the description.
All right. Thank you to our friends over at SAN. The link is in the description. Please go and check that out. So without any further ado, I want to play this clip. Take a look. Let's get into it. Again, it's a longer clip from UFO Revolution, where you can see this on, I think it's on Tubi. I think it's a 2-part series. So here's Jeremy Corbell right now talking.
One truth, and that truth is that UFOs are real. They've already done told you. Sometimes when you want somebody to know a truth, it's so you can set them up to believe a lie. And that's coming. I have zero doubt that lie is coming.
What is the lie?
Specifically, you want me to say it right now, for real? Real? On camera? To be put in the show?
Yes.
Okay. Problem with that. If we tell the lie before it's told, they can adapt. That wouldn't be wise. I'll tell you privately, but I would really think about if you want to put this in your show. For real. That's a real thing I'm telling you. So will you think about it before putting it in your show?
Absolutely.
Okay. So UFOs are real, and they've been here a long time, and that's the truth. But the lie is coming. All indications, like all of them, is that that lie is going to be that there is a craft slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're going to want you to believe. It's nuanced, how they explain that, the nature of that threat. But that 100% is the lie you are going to be told. You even got a date. People have been whispering a date for a long time now. I know where that lie comes from. I know specifically what document from the 70s initiated the idea of that lie. A classified document. That is the lie you will be told. You're going to be told that there is a craft on its way to Earth. That's the lie. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I sent you 2 texts today with a year. Not from me. Nope. I'm not going to propagate that lie. Not going to be part of it. Not going to say it to the camera. Everybody knows. Just start paying attention. And they'll change the date, especially if they see this. Things will change. Because maybe I'm trustworthy. Maybe I'm worthy of your trust. Maybe I've told you the truth the whole way through it. Now you can verify it. If that's the case, then I'm fucking dangerous. You've been told the truth about UFOs for a long time now. It's been pretty orchestrated. It's been pretty clear. And it's using people that are telling the truth and want to tell the truth. Ultimately, they want you to know something. They want you to know UFOs are real. Thank God we're finally there. We're all there now. They want you to know the truth. But why they want you to know that truth now? I hope I'm wrong, but it's terrifying. Think about it. Maybe it's good to get ahead of it. Call it out now before they do it. I'll be called crazy. That's okay.
Well, that's a lot to take in general, right? So there's a lot of things that are said there, like, all right, let's go on the 2027 thing. Let's start with that, because we've heard that before. There was the CIA guy that said 2027. Now, is that part of what Jeremy is talking about here? That's just someone, putting that out there because that is the direction that they've been wanting to do for a little bit, and that 2027 is when they're going to tell people that this thing is coming. The overall bigger thing is if all of this indeed is accurate, is true, that they're intending on doing all this. The first part of it is, okay, well, why would they do this in general, right? And I don't even have an idea or even a theory of why they would do that, but and you guys probably do, and other people probably do, in the same way that I don't understand. And I guess I understand why people talk about, Stephen Greer talks about like the fake invasion and why they would do that, and that would be to get more money for military funds and to use technology that we've already, that they can say, yes, we have this technology, we need more funds to be able to spend more money to up our weapons and all that stuff. So you could see the argument as far as why that works. As far as a 2027 thing, the positive inside of that, right? And he even hints on this when he says it in the beginning, is that they are going to say, okay, look, we're getting to a place right now, we cannot hide this anymore. Like, we just can't. There's too many people knocking on the door. There's too many things that are happening now. Mike Turner just got thrown out on his ass. Oh, he resigned. Mike Turner got thrown out on his ass. There's this whistleblower that's coming out. There's all these things. It's coming, guys. Like, it's coming. So what do we do? And Mark Riley and I always talked about this when he was on the show. He was like, there's this room of people that we've imagined in our heads that are going, all right, what's our plan here? Got to figure it out. Guy in the back goes, hey, I got an idea. Let's tell them in 2020. Let's admit that they're here. Let's admit that there's NHI. We found crap, but it was to do certain things because we knew we had gotten information that in 2027 there from what we have found out there, from the way that time and space works, that we've been locking on this thing since the 70s, that it was scheduled in 2027, around that time period. So we have been cautious because of national security and world security and all that stuff. The things that we have found, we have been building for our protection. You could see something along those lines. It's not like something out of a freaking comic book movie. But nonetheless, you say that, and that's what could be the actual lie itself. Because from what a lot of other people say, is that this stuff's more interdimensional and there's other things happening, and there's more to it, that maybe there's truths that people just don't want to be out there. But this particular thing, as far as telling the lie, there's a couple things there where Jeremy Corbell says, well, I don't know if I should tell you this. You got to make, he leaves it on the producer to whether he wants to put it in there or not. The producer of a show, on a UFO show, especially on TMZ, and a guy tells you on air that the government's gonna lie about alien invasion stuff, and you don't put it in your documentary. If I'm your boss, you're fired. What the hell are you talking about? The guy just said that the government could be lying and saying, he says it himself in the thing, that maybe they change it up, maybe they do this. It's a good way, by the way, to say, hey, look, I'm going to put it out there, but me saying that they could pivot, and I'm making them scatter. And maybe that's part of the strategy for Jeremy Corbell, to do exactly that, to say, hey, we know your plans, jerk-offs, so you better scatter. You better do something else, because I'm going to tell. If he keeps finding out the plans and telling the plans, because let's say that this does happen in the way that he's saying it's going to happen, right? Because we're figuring it out. We're talking about it. So us, the community that pays attention to this stuff, is going to go, hey, that's what Jeremy Corbell said they were going to say. And here's the video to prove it. But the problem is, listen, I told people yesterday on the phone, people who are interested in this topic, who don't follow it in the same way that we do, but are interested in the topic and always say, hey, if there's interesting things, please send it to me. So I called my friend Eric yesterday, and he's very much into the topic. He's aware of the names, but he had no clue what was going on with Stephen Greer, who launched a podcast, but more so the Ross Coldheart stuff. And I told him about that, and he's like, really? And then I sent him a text last night about the video I'm going to cover a little later, about what they're going to show on Saturday. And he's like, whoa, how come I'm not hearing about this? I'm like, you just got to follow the right channels. That's the problem. You got to look for it. There's other news stories you can't get away from. They just bump you over. How many times do we hear about the Haktua girl and freaking, her Bitcoin or whatever the hell it was? I didn't want to hear about that story, but I was bombarded by it. I saw somebody yesterday or 2 days ago when I was talking about the mainstream media, and this is like, you're wrong. The mainstream media doesn't even have an audience anymore. What do you care if they care about it? Because it's the propaganda machine, my friend. It is what happens and how people are inundated with this stuff. As I just mentioned, the Haktua girl and that story, which you probably know. You probably didn't want to know about it, but you did. More people know who she is than in any of these stories or any of these things that are happening out there, too. You don't want to know about those stories, but you do. That's the issue. It needs to be put into the system, these stories. This story in general, right? Like he said at the end, people might think I'm crazy, and that's the other thing that comes out here, right? I don't think he's crazy. I don't think Jeremy Corbell is crazy. I think he hears a lot of things from people, and there's some things that he's been dead on accurate about, and there's things he's been burned about. I mean, and to his credit, he's even said that when we talked about the hearing. But this is one of those things where this is a tough one, because if it doesn't happen after there is a date on it, right? So if it doesn't happen by 2027, you're like, hey, Jeremy, that never happened. And he can go, yeah, but when I said it, they changed it, and they changed their plans, so they decided not to do it. So, it's a tough one, but it's just really interesting how all of this stuff is happening right around the same time. You got this interview, you got the video that TMZ is doing, you got the Jesse Michaels. Jesse Michaels is releasing stuff left and right now. The interviews that he's been doing, I watched a few of them last night. I love that guy's channel. You should check it out. And a really good guy. I like that channel a lot. Anyway, so these are all members of the community who are stepping up in the same way that it seemed like they were all in tandem when the Grush stuff was happening too. Well, this is maybe around the Saturday thing that is happening with this interview, which all eyes will be on. But focusing in on this, I'm so curious to read your thoughts on this. How much validity do you think is in this claim? And do you think that, first of all, if you believe Jeremy Corbell and what he is saying, do you also believe that by him saying this, that they're probably going to alter their plan, or they're going to go, no, this guy talks a lot of stuff too. The mainstream audience doesn't really know a lot about this anyway, so they see a clip of this guy talking about this, and he got some stuff. We can debunk things, stick to the plan. Or is it just something that will never happen? It's something that maybe was whispered into his ear that it's like, yeah, someone told you that, but there's no validity to it. No one's ever going to do that. I'm so curious to hear the comments on this story. It's very interesting to me in general. I have not dove into this full series on TMZ. I have no idea how it is. I haven't checked it out yet. I don't know if you guys have. Please let me know. But I will be watching on Saturday with Ross's thing for sure. And if I can get into the studio, I'm going to do something. I'll try to do something immediately. If not, I'll at least do something on my phone and just post it on the channel to get my initial thoughts, and then a fuller video, I guess, on Monday. Anyway, thanks for joining me here today. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, comment. We're getting a lot of new people in here. I'm just trying to get the word out, man. The stories that are happening, because if mainstream media isn't doing it, at least you can share clips on other channels, whether it's my channel. I always mention Patrick from Vetted. There's on Twitter, you can go to UAP James, you go to Michelangelo, the UFO Joe. There's so many different people. Pavel, obviously. There's so many different people that you can check out for updates of this thing to be in the know. Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp. The list goes on and on and on. There's so many different people that are covering this. Jesse Michaels. I've said this before, and this is for newer people. I think it is very silly for people that are doing this to just feel like, no, just watch me. It's not what this is about. This is about getting as much information as you can and asking as many questions as you can and following all sides of it, by the way, not just the people that, like, I try to follow it on a side where I'm like, okay, I want to ask questions. I want to say this. There's people who just like, no, this is exactly what it is, and I believe it. There's other people like, this is bullshit. I don't know. I like to say, like, okay, ask those questions of why it could be bullshit, and ask those questions of why this could absolutely be fact. And just ask questions. That's the main thing. So do that. And hell, man, if you want, start your own thing too. Whether it's, even if it's not necessarily videos and talking about it, post hashtags and do all that stuff and get people talking about it, man. That's what this is all about. Anyway, very curious to hear everybody's thoughts. Appreciate you, and we'll see you a little later. I'm going to try to do that. That there was an interesting tweet that I want to cover, and I'll talk about it later. All right, bye.